What's My Line? Brought to you by Geritol, the high-potency vitamin iron-rich tonic in liquid or tablets to help you feel stronger. And now, let's all play What's My Line? And now, from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now a remarkable Englishman who has delighted audiences in whatever picture he has been seen in America has just done a long-playing record called Mr. Terry Thomas Discovers America, and tonight we're going to discover him. Terry Thomas.
How do you do? Well, now, I have more pleasure than I usually do have in introducing somebody you all know. It seems rather pointless, doesn't it? Miss Dorothy Kilgallen, who does not need the luck of the Irish to play this game. Miss Kilgallen.
And I would like to introduce our marvelous publisher panelist, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
We live in constant trepidation backstage at What's My Line, wondering what story John Daly is going to bring into us each week. And tonight, it's one of those awful conundrums, which goes like this: what's red and has bumps on it and lives on the prairie? And the answer, believe it or not, is the lone raspberry. And the man who perpetrated that is Mr. John Charles Daly.
With one slight modification, the story is entirely untrue. I am not responsible for it, although my face is now red that it should have been attributed to me. Bennett, really. Mr. Terry Thomas? Sir, nice to have you with us, sir.
Thank you very much indeed.
I must say that I know you hear it a great deal, but I am one of that great legion who will never miss an opportunity to go and have some laughter with you. It's great to see you on our panel.
Thank you very much.
We have
What
some...
did he say?
Thank you.
Oh, good, thank you.
Good show. We have some interesting occupations for you. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the channel, panel, a little bit later in the program. And we'll meet our first challenger after this. And now to meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Mamie Ward. Is that right? Or is it May? Is it Miss or Mrs. Ward? Mrs. Ward?
Yes.
And where are you from, ma'am?
I'm from Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Yes, sir.
It's very nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Mrs. Ward, may I present the panel? And now would you join me over here, please?
Yes, I will.
And we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is.
All right.
All right. Panel, we can tell you that Mrs. Ward is self-employed and deals in a product. And we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Mrs. Ward, is it a useful product?
Yes.
Is it used by men and women?
No.
1 down and 9 to go. Mr. Terry Thomas.
Hello, Mrs. Ward.
How do you do?
I hope you'll help me. I haven't played this before. Now, would I be right in saying that what you do has absolutely nothing to do with, shall we say, coat hangers that trousers don't slip off?
No.
You would be absolutely right in saying that.
Because I'd like to meet somebody who does that. Now, we have to... Would I be right in saying that this product is for men?
No.
I wasn't far off, was I?
No, not a great deal. 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is this a product that I could hold in my hand?
Well, I guess yes.
You could, Dorothy, yeah.
Am I correct in assuming that I'm rather getting the vibration from you that I wouldn't be likely to want to?
Well, I would rather say, if Mrs. Ward will forgive me, that the circumstance is not likely to arise in which you would wish to hold it in your hand, but we don't deny that you have the physical capacity to so do.
That's right.
Is this thing, or has it ever been alive?
No.
Nope. 3 down and 7 to go. Bennett.
Mrs. Ward, is this product of yours manufactured?
In a sense,
Is it packaged?
no.
4 down and 6 to go. Arlene Francis.
Since this product is not for men or women, is it for something in the animal kingdom?
Yes.
Is it a product that would benefit an animal?
Well,
I would say we could agree that under a given set of circumstances, the product certainly would prove useful and beneficial to the animal, yes.
Is it a product that is put on an animal rather than in an animal?
yes.
Is
In fact,
it
an animal with this in it would be in somewhat bad shape.
Uh-huh. You could, however, perhaps purchase this at an animal store or pharmacy?
No.
You could not?
No, not this. No, we will agree that in this whole general area, this sort of thing might be purchased, but the specific product with which Mrs. Ward deals, you could not buy in a general animal store or whatever they would call such an emporium. Very common.
Thank you.
Why?
Charming. Well, just for a bit of fun. I'm a dog lover. Is it anything to do with cats?
No. 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are the animals to which this product applies in some way what we consider domestic animals rather than wild animals?
Well, some are and some aren't.
Yeah, yes and no. I would say that they, in the main, we would agree that in the numbers factor, the majority we would certainly consider domesticated.
Yes, you would.
Would they be found on a ranch or a farm?
Yes.
Yes.
Some.
Some would. Would they have 4 legs?
Yes.
Would they have any little horns or anything like that coming out of the front?
Horns. No horns.
No.
That makes it 7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Ward, is there any relationship to pigs in the animals that you deal with? None whatever?
No.
Nope. That
Not
makes
even
it
second cousins?
not even second cousins. 8 down and 2 to go. Arlene.
If it is not something that might particularly pleasure an animal, is it something that is very often required for an animal in a certain condition?
Well, I would say again, if I may, Miss Ward, in a given set of circumstances, the general product about which we're talking would be useful to an animal. The conditions would need, however, to apply. There are other instances when we will agree readily that it would not have this highly utilitarian aspect.
No.
And Bennett's face is red.
Now then, never mind what John said. Is this something that an animal might sit or lean on rather than... No, I take it back. I take it back.
No, you don't. 9 down and 1.
I sit and lean on everything.
9 down and 1 to go. Terry Thomas.
I wish you'd leave the funnies to me. Oh, dear. Yes. Wouldn't be a sort of brandy barrel to hang around a horse's neck.
No.
Never heard of it.
No more to go. Things have changed. Where did you ever see horses with brandy?
I never have, actually.
Grand idea. No, I think actually you came close, and I give you credit for that, because Mrs. Ward does do a rather particular thing. She makes blankets for horses and elephants.
Oh,
And in a particular aspect, too, Mrs. Ward is with the Wisconsin Historical Society, and they're going to have on July 4th.
Yes, we have, what I'm making is the blankets for the horses and elephants that are going in the big Milwaukee parade that goes on the 4th of July, and it's sponsored by the Schlitz Brewery Company, and they have it, they call it a day in old Milwaukee.
These are obviously horses that drink beer, right?
Yes.
Not brandy, yeah.
Mrs. Ward's task is to go back 50 years. This whole parade is to look like Milwaukee 50 years ago.
The
John,
old
you can tell it,
circus
Mrs.
wagons, and they have, I would say 500 or 600 horses, baggage horses that pull these big parade wagons that they had about 50 years ago. And, of course, these blankets and horse blankets and trappings that I'm making are all very elaborate.
Very fancy.
And decorate them all up, you know.
Mrs. Ward, I bet you could never guess what Mrs. Ward used to do. In fact, if she doesn't mind my saying so, what she used to do until she'd
She used
reached
to ride
the
a
equator
horse.
of life.
She what?
She'd reached the equator, you know, the 50th year of her life, what she was doing up until then.
Rider?
No?
In the circus.
No. She was an elephant safari rider.
She drank Schlitz.
No? Wonderful.
Well, her hand has never lost
In
its
that
skill.
area, Terry, yeah.
In that area.
Mm-hmm.
On an outside stage.
What'd you say, Dorothy?
Vaudeville?
No, well, it could apply to her. I'll tell you.
Rodeo.
Circus?
Flying
She rode in
trapeze.
rodeos?
Flying trapeze artist. That's what Mrs. Ward was until, you don't mind my saying, until you were 50.
No, I'm real pleased.
Yes, and now she has stayed in this area which she spent all of her life in and which she's enjoyed so much, and she does costumes now for particular occasions. Thank you very much, Mrs. Ward. Nice to have you with us. And now, to meet our second contestant, will you enter and sign in, please? Ruth Buffy? All right. Is it Miss or Mrs. Bussey? Mrs. Bussey, and where are you from, ma'am?
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Very nice to have you with us, Mrs. Bussey. May I present the panel?
Hi.
Now, would you join me over here, and we'll let the audience in the theater know exactly what your line is, and the folks at home, too. All right, panel, we can tell you that Mrs. Bussey is salaried and deals in a service. And we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett, Cerf.
Mrs. Bussey, Tampa on the Gulf. Lots of ships come in. Have you got anything whatever to do with activities on the waterfront?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Arlene.
Mrs. Bussey, do you work for a non-profit making organization?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Terry Thomas.
Hello. Hello, Mrs. Bussey. You look jolly happy. Is this anything to do with, loosely making people happy?
No, I don't think even in the loosest interpretation of what would be the, shall we say, the affirmative effort as the principal activity.
Would you mind repeating all this?
No. 3 down and 7 to go, Dorothy.
Mrs. Bussey, do you work in an enclosure?
Well, yes.
Can you do your work in ordinary street or office clothes?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Bussey, have you anything whatever to do with the law?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Benson.
No, she works for a profit-making organization.
Right.
Correct? Do you wear a kind of costume or uniform that would be recognizable to us on the panel?
As specifically identifying the occupation in which she is
I
engaged?
don't think so, John. No, just something. Some kind of a coverall or something that would give us some indication of what you might do.
Well, I would
Since you
think...
do not wear regulation dress, you said.
I would say if you're feeling very generous, we will give a tentative yes to that. If you feel mean tonight, boom, we'll hit right over the head. How do you feel?
Well, it's okay.
A tentative yes.
Yes.
All right. We would not agree that the costume would readily identify the occupation outside of the normal environment in which you might expect to find it.
Quite. Well, I'm very grateful to you, John, and to Mrs. Bussey. Do you have anything whatsoever to do in your job with transportation of any kind?
No.
6 down and 4 to go. Terry. Yes.
Nothing to do with a flea circus, perhaps.
A flea circus. Did you say a flea circus?
Yes, I did.
No.
Well, I couldn't think of it.
7 down and 3 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Bussy, if I were in the right place at the right time, could I use your services?
Yes.
Could the gentleman on the panel, too?
Yes.
Would we perhaps see you when we require this service?
Yes.
And you would then perform some service for us?
Yes.
Would you do it in what would be called an office?
No.
No. 8 down and 2 to go, Bennett.
Mrs. Bussey, I've been wrong on everything with you so far. I'd like to get to the realm of food and drink now. Have you anything whatever to do with either food or drink?
Well, yes, You might say so.
Food?
Mm-hmm.
Drink?
Is this food that is eaten by human beings?
Yes.
Is it a food that can be eaten raw without being cooked?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Does it grow in the ground?
Yeah.
Yes.
It does. Does it grow in Florida?
Yeah.
Some of it, yes.
Might it be in the realm of fruit?
It could be. Yeah.
Is it either the citrus family or berry family?
It could be.
Could be.
I'm being led on here. Is it various kinds of fruit?
It could be. Yeah.
You're being very helpful, John. Do you have anything to do with shipping fruit?
No.
No. That's 9 down and 1 to go, Arlene.
Now, this is a girl mixed up with all kinds of fruit. Yeah. Terrible situation. I would be correct in saying you do not work phonetics.
You would be correct, yes.
Yes. Do you represent, for some reason or other, all the fruit of Florida?
No. 10 down and no more to go. This is funny.
the
Bennett,
matter
it will
with that?
all come clear to you now.
Is it a restaurant?
Good. No.
She's a
She
waitress.
at the World's Fair?
How about a supermarket?
How about it?
How about it? Mrs. Bussey
Is she a checker?
The 1964 Checker of the Year. You work with the B&B supermarket. Yes, Mr. Terry Thomas.
Since I have been in America, I've had much more fun in supermarkets than in theaters. And I said, this is anything to do with amusement. Happiness, I said. It's a happy place. Lovely. With music and people pushing those things around.
Baby.
You shouldn't give me a yes, you know.
I think perhaps you have a point, Terry. I might have given you a yes. but
I'm all bitter and twisted.
Things are even happier than that because the customers voted initially in a regional contest that Mrs. Bussey was the top checker of her region. Then again in competition, she came out as the 1964 Checker of the Year. And now tell them what happy circumstances you're in now. What is it? You're going to Hawaii?
I'm going to Hawaii for 2 weeks, and I want a mink stove and other prizes.
Going to lead a checkered life.
Yeah, leading a checkered life. That's enough for that. All right, fine. Thank you. Congratulations, and I hope you enjoyed your visit on What's My Life. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment after this message. And now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which, as you all know, my friends are always blindfolded. Blindfolds in place, panel?
We hope so.
All right, would you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? In this case, a different form of questioning, one question at a time, in turn moving clockwise, and we'll begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Well, are you a curvaceous cutie type movie star?
No, I don't believe it's ever been said that I am, no.
One down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
I apologize.
Are you a famous luminary in the sports field?
I've tried desperately, but I don't think so, no.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Arlene Francis.
Are you primarily known, and was that marvelous reception that you received a result of giving brilliant performances in motion pictures?
One cannot answer a question when they've been so flattered.
I will answer yes, definitely to that. Mr. Terry Thomas.
Well, by the ovation, you were obviously not Nikita Khrushchev. I would say you were Jack Lemmon.
Oh, Daddy.
You're right.
No, dear boy. I left him in a corner of 58 and 6. Hour and a half ago.
Oh, dear me. We didn't know
Goat,
that.
I was afraid you would get it. Well, anyway.
What told us, Steve?
I must say this. He didn't give it away.
I certainly didn't. I
Because
did my
last
best not
night
to.
we were together, you didn't say a word, and I said to my wife, it couldn't be Jack. Because when I said I was on What's My Line, not by a flicker. And she said, well, how do you know? And I said, well, I was with the FBI for 17 years, you know, so I'd be able to know.
It's so funny. Seriously, we were playing pool, pocket billiards, late last night. And I kept thinking of this, and he kept saying, well, I have to do this panel. I'm so worried. I know the show and everything, but, you know, and they've all done it so long and all this. And I just kept trying to play billiards and play the game and everything. I never said a word, and I thought, well, he'll be the one who'll be so surprised when somebody else says, Jack Lemmon. Who says Jack Lemmon? Terry Thomas.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were Mickey Mantle. He came into the restaurant that I was eating dinner at, and I thought maybe he was following me over here to the theater.
Jack, I thought you were Shirley MacLaine.
Well, I must say it's a joy to have two men who have such a wonderful comic sense. Your new picture, Good Neighbor Sam, I have not had the chance to see, but I hear it is great fun.
Well, you haven't seen it, so you hear it's great.
But
No, I hope it
No,
is.
actually, I was invited to go last week, but I had to go up to my old prep school, Tilton School, to do some work. So I'm going to see it this
I went to
coming week
Andover,
or
and
the
I'll
week
have none
after.
of Tilton. I used to
had
play
a boy-
against Tilton at 9
and we
years
beat
old.
your ears off
I know.
every time. Ah, thank you, Jack.
John, I
don't
think we
we
ought
did.
to
You're
say-
awful good at Andover, too.
I think we ought to say that Jack is here because he's doing location shots for How to Murder Your Wife, if you want some information.
But I miss you, dear.
And Mr. Terry Thomas is in the picture with
I don't
him.
want to get involved in any way, in any premise, reading How to Murder Your Wife. I have enough problems as it is already right now. Jocko, thanks very much for being our guest. Wonderful to have
My
you.
pleasure.
Sorry about that.
Well, I think we'll have to admit that was a brilliant recovery, so the congratulations are in order. We'll all be back after this word from our alternate sponsor. And very nice to have you with us tonight, Mr. Terry Thomas. You're great fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, Arlene Francis.
Good night, John. Good night, dear Mr. Terry Thomas. What is your first name?
Fred.
Fred Terry Thomas?
Or Nellie, or anything.
Almost anything.
Yes, I haven't got one.
I'm sure most people
Just
call you
fill
Mr. Thomas.
Fill in the gap. They call me some very peculiar names.
Well,
They're
her name is
charming.
Kilgallen.
Goodbye.
Come again, please,
Thank
dear.
you
Good
very
night,
much.
Bennett.
John, your stories aren't getting better. Good night.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS television network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Cotton. Johnny Olson speaking. President John Kennedy in February 1963 said, "We've long neglected the mentally ill. This neglect must end. Help carry out his program by giving to your mental health association.